Payday as a franchise is the poster child for excessive dopamine-inducing achievement pop-ups. With a total of 1,328 Steam achievements across Payday 2, you're talking hundreds if not thousands of hours worth of grind and struggle. That's not even getting into the dozens of safehouse challenges, including the madness that is Robocop, or the 500 levels of infamy. Hell, Payday 2's slew of interesting and nightmarish achievements have and still do make for fantastic video content for us creators. I should know, I've made at least 3 videos talking about and suffering through it. So you'd expect exactly the same from Payday 3, right? It being such a successful approach to drive lasting interest in the game. Well, once again, they went against the grain and decided, sod it, we've only got ideas for 22. With that in mind, in this video I'm going to show you just how shallow some of those 22 really are by blasting through them on a completely fresh account as quickly as possible, for all intents and purposes 100%ing Payday 3 in a matter of hours. As I've already alluded to, instead of my usual approach to covering achievement content in these games, given we're only dealing with a handful in total, the plan is to run through every single one on a fresh account, calling in Yelwant 2.0 for his debut after the original wasted his opportunity for screen time by being the guinea pig when practicing this run. Whilst there is no official speedrunning category for Payday 3 All Achievements, I thought I might as well time it just to see how quickly you can feasibly blast through the core of what the game has to offer. Before starting that timer though, there are a couple of semi-interesting things to consider when it comes to playing on a new account. Predominantly the order in which you choose to unlock key skills and approach to leveling up the account to access new tools and armor types. What I will say is that owning DLCs can trivialize things even further, as we immediately have access to some of the strongest weapons in the entire game. I was originally planning to go into Heist 1 with the Reinfeld Sniper, which can be accessed from level 1 now thanks to the compensation item preset variant that's now also available with the Year 1 edition of the game. Until a member of the live chat saved me by pointing out the same can be done with the mechanical Moonshiner variant of the Moscone 12 gauge, which is not only a much better weapon, but also has fewer total levels, meaning kitted out, which I've already determined to be the limiting factor for this challenge, can be completed after reaching weapon level 12. As long as I hold this thing in my primary slot, regardless of how much I actually use it, I will be able to level it up thanks to the slightly flawed weapon leveling system this game went with. I'm also immediately able to drop a suppressor on my SIG-40 for free, as they actually considered players being able to stealth from Mission 1, which wasn't always the case in Payday 2, so at least that's one lesson learned by the sequel. As for the starting heist of this speedrun, this was one of the few question marks I really ran into when routing this challenge, but I eventually settled on a plan of being dragged through Rock the Cradle stealth by my teammates for the Party Crasher achievement, whilst I researched Hacker to help on the other necessary stealth heists coming up. This one's fairly simple, just requiring you to complete the heist in stealth on hard or above without securing a VIP invitation, which used to be possible via dozens of cheesy distraction methods, but now really requires you to own one of 2 skills. As I've already mentioned, my plan was to have my teammates cover for my level 1 account's lack of skills, but as it turns out, that was pretty daft. Trying to get through the VIP section via the usual strats is incredibly messy online, and without either slippery to escape cuffs or glitch protocol to hack guards, I was completely reliant on my teammates getting everything perfect. To make matters worse, with weapon and account levels still in the back of my mind, I'd raised the difficulty up to overkill, causing even more confusion as that meant the entire building was set to secure. A litany of errors of judgment on my end. This 100% should have been saved for later when I had enough skills research to solo it, but not a mistake we couldn't recover from if we just pushed through the jank. At least we were able to earn achievement number 1, no one cared who I was for simply masking up for the first time, putting us at 1 of 22 after just over 3.5 minutes. Remember, I'm recording true time here, so that means time in menus or waiting for players to connect, even if those are variable, as the goal isn't to set some kind of world record, but rather to give you some idea of just how quickly you could get this done. Attempt 1 on the main task at hand was suitably chaotic, with one teammate cuffed by the entrance, whilst the rest of us made it into the VIP area in the basement. Unfortunately, after losing one teammate, the cam spotted the mess we'd already made, setting off the alarm, but not before Glace had noted down the correct power switch to speed up future attempts, thanks to Payday 3's weird online fixed RNG system. Attempt 2 was much cleaner until we threw right before the escape, stopping a sieve in front of a camera instead of just running on by. Like I said, this strategy is chaotic with a full team, so I don't blame anyone for messing up, but that's why solo should have been the approach. On attempt 3, I just let Glace do his thing whilst I masked up to deal with the VIP bouncer, giving us a smooth route to victory, only slowed down by the arrival of another chat member, Satan's daughter, who will be a recurring character throughout this run, shall we say, getting a little lost whilst finding their bearings, as that's just the price we pay for doing this live and with chat members, but that's also part of the fun. Back in the menus, next up on my hit list was Infiltrator to speed up lockpicking later on, as we head to Dirty Ice for another easy group achievement in Smash and Grab, earned for completing the heist within 2 minutes of spawning in. This is easier on lower difficulties, so I dropped us down to normal before Glace took the smashing part a little too literally, going straight through the front door and going loud, which makes it impossible to complete. That wasn't a massive time loss though, as we headed in for attempt 2 with a better idea of what was going on. This is actually possible solo, in case you were wondering, which is why it's so damn easy to do with a team. You just need 2 bags of the more expensive diamonds within the alarm cases, and the hidden stone obtained via the red keycard to hit the escape limit. This is pretty easy with 4 pages and destructible cams, making it out of this one in about 90 seconds on the second attempt. I slapped a little graffiti on one of the DLC masks to quickly earn arts and crafts just for customizing a mask, before moving on to one of the most pivotal and genuinely interesting challenges in the entire run. True Connoisseur and Art Critic both take place on Under the Surface, and are surprisingly easy to do on the same heist. True Connoisseur is comfortably the most fleshed out achievement in the entire game, reminiscent of what we used to have to puzzle out in Payday 2. All we get from the description is Steal the Painting by Chandra Luttrell in Under the Surface on Very Hard or Above. No clues whatsoever. Although within a matter of hours on launch, this one was already solved, so not quite on the same level as the secret. Basically, there are 3 randomized statues that spawn on the desk in the manager's office, with each corresponding to one loot item around the heist. You need to locate all of them and be in a lobby with at least 2 of the players to pick them up simultaneously, unlocking a button behind this painting in the manager's office. Press that to release the Luttrell painting down by the first floor lobby, which you're intended to access by avoiding alarm lasers that can only be seen by hacking the overlooking cameras. It's a really neat little puzzle that's difficult by design and requires some genuine cooperation, which makes their decision to not include a way for console players to communicate for over 12 months even more baffling. From a practical perspective though, we can really cut down these steps to speed things along. First of all, knowing that RNG will be fixed even if we restart, the first attempt is purely for scouting, allowing us to rapidly work out which rooms we need to focus on with the correct sculptures inside. After managing that, we can restart to beeline towards the actual objectives we need to complete to reduce the risk of getting caught doing something unnecessary, as we do need to retain stealth status to access this bonus painting. That didn't go perfectly on the first serious attempt, needing a quick restart after the 4th and 5th security radios went off, but we absolutely nailed it on the second try. Easily opening up the 3 rooms we need to access the sculptures, timing the pickup on a pre-planned second, and skipping the final laser puzzle requirement by getting into position to steal the loot before the 4th teammate pressed the button in the office. From there, the achievement is pretty much in the bag, as it doesn't matter whether we finish the heist in stealth or loud, and the former would slow things down when seeking out the second achievement exclusively available on this heist, Art Critic, which simply requires us to steal art from all 7 exhibits. Seeing as both only require very hard difficulty to complete, and we're all in stealth builds, it made sense not to push this heist up to overkill as we will for many of the later challenges. As for stealing art from all the exhibits, the easiest way to confirm you've got this one done is just to grab all the loot on the map, as that's actually shown within the HUD, confirming the 2-for-1 clearance in under 20 minutes, which really isn't bad for one of the only compellingly difficult achievements in the entire game. It's all downhill from here. Golden Shark is next, with 2 of the most boring and straightforward achievements in the game. The hard way requires you to complete the heist in stealth on any difficulty without using the HR computer, so basically guessing which office holds the red keycard, and then closing the account is for completing the heist on hard or above with all loot stolen. Again, we might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone and push up the difficulty to overkill to increase those weapon XP rewards. This was a little more chaotic than planned, as for the first time I've seen, a god spotted this side PC mid-hack and forced a reset, but not before the team had gathered the correct code, speeding up the second attempt thanks to the fixed RNG again. I can't stress enough how much easier that mechanic makes a run such as this one. On attempt 2, we were able to stay unmasked for much longer, reducing the risk of getting caught before masking up in the vault to move all the loot via the elevator shaft favour, again being bailed out by my crewmates and their access to decent assets. The worst thing about the level 1 experience is losing out on transporter, which I probably should have researched at some point, but everyone else is all decked out to move bags quickly, and again unlock an easy pair of achievements in roughly 15 minutes. Finally, we're onto the loud section of this run. If those stealth heists were starting to wear thin, going back to the classic that is No Rest for the Wicked, one of the only Payday 3 heists to stand the test of time in my opinion. Just one more is your reward for opening all the deposit boxes in the vault, and Colour Me Surprised is granted for disarming all the die packs. The second one wasn't possible if you were playing solo at launch, but that all changed when they made ECM slow down the die pack explosions in a later patch, meaning once again these are as straightforward as they come. Also, I've got to say, this skin for the Moscone is absolutely top tier, probably my favourite weapon skin in the entire Payday series. Unfortunately, not many people have access to it. You might notice from the gameplay, despite still being only level 19 with hardly any skills, overkill difficulty is immediately manageable for this account. That's because DLC weapons are so damn powerful. I'm not even allowing myself access to the outright OP Pursuivant Shotgun or Adelig AR, as I'm still comfortably in control with just a Deagle secondary, which for all intents and purposes acts as a primary. With adaptive armor also available from level 1, all the key components to my build are already in place, and with skill lines like Enforcer, Mower and Armorer being researched, by the end of this challenge I'll pretty much have access to a meta build. Speaking of skills, without even aiming to, I managed to unlock Unlimited Power, which I didn't set a split for as I wasn't sure when I'd earn it, but that's simply unlocked by having all 3 core buffs, Grit, Edge and Rush active at the same time, which can now be earned on Boys in Blue by just eating a donut, in case you were wondering if any achievements had gotten easier over time. Once down into the vault where both achievements will be earned, we just need to pay enough attention to not let any of the die packs explode, which should be the case even in most public lobbies you play in. With quick fingers in our builds, we can also unlock every single deposit box in roughly a minute to earn just one more as well. On the escape, I also managed one of the only achievements that can't be consistently set up, especially when playing in a squad. Danger High Voltage is unlocked by stunning at least 4 additional cops with the Taser's battery pack AoE. Most of you will have just unlocked this one by accident, but on a run like this one where everything's against the clock and I can't just wait to get lucky, it was a weight off getting this so early on. Completing the heist to smash out a massive 4 achievements, more than 1/6 of what the entire game has to offer in under 15 minutes, bringing our total on to 12, passing the halfway mark after just an hour of gameplay. The hardest thing about the next 2 achievements has to be convincing a full group of 3 additional heisters to play 99 boxes with you, as we're going after Tech Mogul for securing both of the Wixia devices without them degrading, and No Stone Unturned for securing all 6 bags of optional loot. Even on Overkill, these are incredibly straightforward and you might have unlocked them by accident just for playing the game normally. With the favour that extends the degradation time and a solidly coordinated team, it gets even easier. Of the non-DLC heists in this game, 99 boxes is probably still the toughest, but even with my highly limited build, I still had enough resources and a strong enough weapon in the Deagle to stay alive throughout, covering my teammates as they secured the core loot quickly and grabbing all additional money bags to clear this with no problem at all, moving on swiftly from my least favourite heist in the game. As far as loud achievements go, Road Rage probably has the most difficult set, not helped by the fact that they were bugged for months, with crowd control needing you to keep all civilians on the heist from either dying, fleeing or being rescued, whilst traffic control just needs you to keep the armoured vehicle moving all the way up to the raised platform. Again, favours can make this one easier, as can setting up a clear path before you start it in motion. As for the civs, you can just bundle them up together down in one of these missing bridge panels, as it appears to leave them beyond the comprehension of the hostage rescue team, pretty much confirming that no one's getting saved and the achievement is ours so long as we don't accidentally shoot them. Even if you don't hide the civs away, staying on top of hostage rescue spawns is not that difficult when you're in a team, so as long as someone stays in range of the van to keep it moving, you shouldn't have too many issues either way. I suppose the one added difficulty is the fact that traffic control requires you to be playing on Overkill, but we've been completing that added challenge on almost every heist just for the bonus weapon XP. Another easy first time clear for the crew, who was super consistent on loud heists, even if some of the stealth achievements had thrown us for a loop. Next up, Clean It Out takes us back to Dirty Ice, one of the few heists that doesn't allow you to complete both achievements in one go, as the first required us to go fast, whereas this one needs us to go slow, cleaning and securing all bags on Overkill difficulty. The spawns on this heist are so rudimentary that the cops will always have a tough time getting to you, funneling in to die together, meaning even though it forces us onto the hardest difficulty, outside of the all too frequent cloaker spawns, it's absolutely no problem for a reasonably accomplished team to handle in under 10 minutes. On now to the rarest Steam achievement for this game, with only a 2.4% completion rate, insurance policy. The only reason I can see for this one being so uncommon is that it's a bit obscure on what it wants teams to do, so no one's going to complete it by accident, and it can be easy to mess up right at the end. All we actually need to do is hold 4 human shields during the escape on hard or above. That difficulty stipulation does matter too, as hard will give you far less intense spawns, hence why for once we're doing this one at its intended lower difficulty. Getting to the escape is no issue at all, just follow the objectives and if possible, have one teammate gather up and protect your hostages for use later on. I must admit I was suitably amused at the sight of Big Man over here, leading them into the bathroom 3 at a time as they followed like a gaggle of ducklings. You don't even need to keep these guys for the escape, as with flashbangs or the menacing skill it's totally possible to just use heavy swats instead, but I do like keeping an insurance policy. I mean, it's the name of the bloody achievement after all. Anyway, the one adaptation you can consider if this one's really frustrating you is to bring the skill solid from the Enforcer skill line, making it so you won't be staggered or drop your human shield at the last moment so long as you have Grit and Edge active. Or you can very simply just land your shots and clear the area before trying to escape, to make sure those last moment accidents don't happen, as my crew cleared this one in roughly 10 minutes. With under 2 hours on the clock, I realised I was just a little behind on the engineer skill line to buff my sentry gun for another achievement, and way off the pace in terms of levelling up my Moscone, so I decided to take a little detour on the route and run a Boys in Blue for its high XP per minute, and to be honest, just for the fun factor. If I was in an ultra-coordinated team, we could have done something like an optimised No Rest for the Wicked, but the whole point of this challenge was to play with viewers and not try to optimise the fun and accessibility out of it. This feels like a good time to segue into another important conversation around improving the Payday 3 achievement situation, as I play a DLC heist which, for some unfathomable reason, didn't come paired with new challenges. There were 2 achievements added with every heist at launch, as well as 6 miscellaneous ones. If you were to add 2 more for every new heist since then, you'd already be halfway to addressing the problem we completionists have with the current state of achievement hunting. That would be 14 new achievements, and with another 6 miscellaneous and 2 coming from First World Bank, you would have doubled the release achievement count effortlessly. Anyway, Poison Brew was a solid distraction for 10 minutes, and if I didn't already have unlimited power, this would have been a great time to earn it. More importantly, that XP injection gave me enough to pick up Spin Cycle and Engineer, allowing sentries 360 degrees of rotation, which makes them slightly less idiotic than they can be otherwise. That's important because we're going after 2 of the most tedious achievements in the game simultaneously, back on Rock the Cradle. After Party requires you to survive 4 full assault waves before escaping on very hard or above, and Guns Don't Kill People needs you to complete a heist with 50 or more sentry gun kills. Heading down to the RTC basement for this one, a single sentry is more than capable of taking out dozens of SWATs without needing much babysitting down by this door, helped by the fact that cops on this heist, especially downstairs and especially on this difficulty, just can't really be arsed. Don't know what's wrong with them, but they are slow to fire and will just stand there as the turret pumps them full of lead without reacting. Other highlights include the ocean of traded resources that might lag a lesser machine, and the invention of the Payday 3 Spy Crab Walk. I told you you'd see more of Satan's daughter's antics. In all honesty, this one was so drawn out and easy, my team started to go stir crazy, giving a civilian 100 G-Force experience before I put the poor lad out of his misery, and giving us a little teaser of what the gameplay in Project Backshots may look like come 2026. In all, my sentry had enough kills to leave after just 1 wave, but we had to hang in there for just over 24 minutes in total to complete this one at the 2.5 hour mark. Believe it or not though, that leaves us with only 2 achievements left to unlock. Kitted out with just a matter of grinding, so the focus has to be on Spec Ops. In my opinion, the most challenging achievement from a mechanical standpoint in the entire game, especially if stealth isn't your favoured way to play. It requires you to complete Touch the Sky in stealth on overkill difficulty without killing anyone. This is why I researched Manipulator specifically for the menacing skill. This allows us to take guards out of commission without any violence, making it possible to do things like turn off cams, which can make it a whole lot easier. Unfortunately, stealth can just be hard on this heist, especially if you're like me and prefer the masked up route. Attempt 1 ended after we made it inside Mason's office, when I fumbled things by forgetting the lead guard's unique pathing. I don't even know what happened on attempt 2 to trigger an early search, but I wasn't about to wait around and find out, as that mode can make it close to impossible for this sort of challenge. Attempt 3 went much further as I located the blue keycard, meaning we could drop cams thanks to menacing, although someone got trigger happy out of muscle memory, which requires an instant restart. Attempt 4 looked to be going perfectly, until I watched on in helpless horror as the lead guard sidled up to a teabagging Satan's daughter and gave them the surprise of a lifetime as they learned he can in fact go into the office once it's open. Again, this is the risk-reward of running a challenge like this with viewers, as the risk is you might fail a few extra attempts, whilst the reward is getting to watch teammates cock up in new and innovative ways. At least we were able to locate the right code from this for future runs. I have no idea how we ended up in this highly familiar position on attempt 5, although I have to blame myself for looking away for one moment to uncuff Clover, as this guy immediately took advantage and stopped surrendering long enough to fire a bullet past my head, again breaking stealth. Finally though, we were all locked in and had perfected our individual roles for attempt 6, dropping cams quickly before delivering the SSD and making a run for it thanks to the overwhelming power of Glitch Protocol completely breaking Security's 5 sensors, earning Spec Ops to complete all heist-specific achievements in the game. You can very clearly see how repeat playthroughs get easier and easier thanks to fixed RNG, making a tough achievement like this one not that challenging, especially when compared to some of what we had to do back in Payday 2. That said, this run wasn't entirely complete as I still had 2 levels on my Moscone to grind out. By potentially running certain heists on harder difficulties, this could have been sped up, but to be honest, I'm guessing kitted out would have been the limiting factor for this speedrun anyway. Fortunately, you can breeze through dirty ice or loot in just over 3 minutes, in a team or solo if you know what you're doing, and have access to Transporter, which we need to do 3 more times for those final 2 weapon levels, dinging the unlock of kitted out in 3 hours, 26 minutes and 30 seconds, completing every single achievement in Payday 3 in the process. In that time, I also managed to hit level 59 and research most of the best skills in the game, unlocking things like ammo funnel and replenish, plate up and combat reload. To say it felt like I'd completed the game in this time wouldn't have been an understatement, so now I'm thinking it might even be possible to do a refund run of this game, if you know what I mean. Focusing on the clock though, I guess this would take about 4 hours in total, so well done to the crewmates who helped out. You completely defied my expectations, no offense. As I mentioned earlier, this was a true timer, not an in-game timer, so it includes all the time I spent sorting things out on menus and waiting for teammates to load in, without which I reckon I could have knocked off another 20 minutes. I also think that without spending 30 minutes on Spec Ops, and with better routing for kitted out and closing the account, we could have saved even more time, so I'm imagining a serious and coordinated crew could get this one done in sub 2 with a bit of practice, which is genuinely insane. Overall, I guess I'm trying to make 2 points here. The first is that Payday 3 can be fun. I enjoyed doing this, some of the heists we ran were very memorable, and achievements like True Connoisseur are genuinely interesting and worth attempting to unlock. I was forced into trying separate account videos on this game because it's currently non-functional for players with large friends lists. But the new player experience is actually solid, even if you are alarmingly overpowered from the get-go. But the second point I'm making is not so optimistic. Starbreeze has a problem when their player base can complete most of what the game has to offer in a matter of hours. Even without any coordination, planning or streamer privilege, you can feasibly earn all achievements in a single-digit time frame, which is not a good look for a game posing as a live service that can capture attention for an extended period of time. Obviously we need more heists and general content, but I also think there needs to be some prioritization given to high-end progression and goals worth chasing. Right now, outside of the full loot cook-off challenge and grinding renown ranks purely for the sake of it, there's not much more than what I've shown you in this video we can do, and that has to change if the game is going to succeed in the long term. So a few things for me to close this one out. Firstly, I'm laying down the gauntlet to you serious Payday 3 enthusiasts. If you can bring yourself to start a new account, I challenge you to beat my time on this All Achievement Challenge run. Second, let me know if achievements were even something you valued back in Payday 2, and how you think Starbreeze could look to implement more in the sequel. Finally, I want to say a huge thank you to my viewers who took the plunge and joined me on this challenge. It was a lot of fun trying to coordinate, and I massively appreciate the time and commitment you gave it. For everyone else, if you'd like to be a part of, or just witness a future run live, remember to follow me over on Twitch or ring the bell on YouTube to be notified as soon as I go live on both platforms. There's a Payday 2 challenge following up this one very shortly. Thank you so much for watching, take care, enjoy the rest of the week, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video. A huge thank you to my dedicated Patreon backers. If you want to join this crew in going infamous, check out the link below and pledge as little as $2 to see your name in the credits, or get 24-hour early access to future videos and vote on upcoming content. Take care, I'll see you all soon.